Right, so we should now be live.
We hope we're live. So we've got a few people, Rail Fan Jack and FMR. Oh, welcome to FMR, lovely channel. Can then somebody tell us they can hear us, please? Just because last time, a couple of times, we've had problems with sound. So great if somebody can just say, yes, you can hear us. Anybody out there?
I've only got 6 at the moment.
One of those 6, please tell us if they can see us and hear us.
Yes.
Yep, that's excellent. Thank you very much. So we're live. And I know FMR, by the way, do quite a lot of live streams themselves. So please take a look at their channel. It's a lot of fun. So we've got a few things to talk about to get us started. And please, if you're watching, bung us some questions. We like questions. It's a bit like the daily briefing. We don't know what we're going to get till somebody asks us questions. And I've done that in a previous job with a hostile audience, so I feel for those people, I must be honest. So I've spoken quite a bit recently about books. I have recently spent a little bit more money than I would, because this is a local chap who's written books specifically on the railways. Oh, hi to the States.
And a channel member.
Oh, excellent, thank you. He's written books expressly on the railways where we live, around Eastbourne and Hastings. And the chapter on the shenanigans and con tricks that they did to shut down the Cuckoo line when they didn't need to is quite illuminating. Equally, the Ifield line at Lewis, where they basically insisted on shutting the railway because they were going to build a road and then didn't build the road, having shut the railway. And apparently there is still a spur there. So they've been very good.
Oh no, Richard Burgess, have you built your layout yet or not?
Yeah, they're going to miss some of this. Okay, well, build your layout, Richard, because Tracy's bending aerial, let alone yours. British Independent Light Railways, I picked it up for about £3. It's the kind of book at the moment, if you look on eBay, it'll be £18 or £3. With all the books, just shop around. But it's a fabulous little book on the independent railways. However, it's the most money I've ever spent on a book. The Derwent Valley Light Railway. For anybody that knows, it remained independent from when it was founded until the 1980s. And that means they missed grouping, nationalisation, beaching, whole works, and they were still an independent railway when they finally went in the 1980s. And I've wanted to know about it for a long while. There's not even much on the internet, and that tells you everything you want to know, but it was quite a lot of money. I've got somebody else from Eastbourne, yeah.
Well, hey.
Somebody from Mars, apparently.
Mars?
I don't speak Martian, but hi. Oh, somebody's used the tin foil. Yes, it works, doesn't it?
Just done it again.
Yeah, the build we've just started, the intention is to do it as a weekly update. It's when I can get Doug motivated to make videos.
I'm kind of busy.
We're about to do one on the buildings aspect, which are largely Daypole. The plan is to do one on the buildings, and then one on how we paint the buildings, and then one on back scenes and scenery, and then one on the operating potential. The operating potential is huge because of some of the reading I've done, which is that they would leave wagons up against the platform and unload them. And if the passenger train came along, the passenger train had to shunt the wagons out of the way, bring the coaches in, and then put the wagons back. It's one of the reasons a lot of the little rural railways weren't profitable, because there was one railway which is something like 9 miles long, and with the various shunting at the stops and the fact they could only do 25 miles an hour under the Light Railways Act, meant it took something ridiculous like an hour and a half to do this 9-mile trip. You could basically walk it quicker. And there is a wonderful photo I found of the Wantage tramway with a cyclist overtaking the train, which gives you an idea of and you're talking about a 1930s cyclist, not a Lycra lout from now.
Callum asks, what will our next 3D printed models be? So you can do that one, and then I'll show you the other one.
We built this a while ago, so this is a container wagon, short container wagon 00, but we just haven't got around to putting it on the website yet. And Doug,
currently, I hope this works, but yeah. Currently, we've got this,
a little box wagon,
which I've been working on, but I can't actually get round to printing it to take it for photos until we stop getting the orders. But that's kind of not happening at the moment. It'll be them pieces as usual. So in the different side pieces.
And we have just put together our brake auto coach, haven't we?
Yeah.
For my layout. So we've got some questions here, haven't we? Favourite model? Depends what I'm building at the time. I do like my Lima Class 33. What's your favourite loco, Doug? You're not into the locos quite so much at the moment, are you?
Coronation Scott.
Coronation Scott. I'm just eating one of my wife makes excellent buns. So I'm eating
got raisins in them.
Doug thinks raisins are dead flies, I think. I don't know, they look like dead flies, but they don't taste. I was going to say they don't taste like dead flies, but I don't know what dead flies taste like.
You ever tried dead fly?
Ah, yes. When I used to motorcycle. And you used to swallow all sorts of things.
That can't be good.
A bee at 70 miles an hour hurts. I'll tell you that much. Pittsburgh, yay!
Where's Pittsburgh?
Oh, somebody's getting a battery train set for $10. That sounds epic. Paying that out, that'd be great. We haven't got Budgie the Bear, have we? Favourite continental country locomotives?
Tell you what we do have though.
Oh, we got the duck.
We got the duck.
If anybody remembers the last live stream, I nearly said something worse, but managed to say duck. Well, I do like the French locomotives, and at some point we are going to do some French locomotives running. One of the first models we ever bought was one of the old UF blue and white locos. But I also have 3 very nice Lima Italian locos, an electric and 2 diesels. I'm quite fond of those as well. Any more questions? Yes, rocket railways we have heard of. We're going to have a look into them. They do second hand.
Oh no, my lights are falling down.
But we'll have a little look at them.
What? Rocket railways.
Wardle Road. Spoke about an interview, but stopped replying. Just got busy.
Well, and an interview may not be the best thing right now.
In what way?
In the fact of we're locked down and social distancing.
I'm going to do a virtual interview.
You could do a virtual one.
Do a virtual one. We'll do your virtual interview. That'll work great.
/ end up waiting like 2 years to do a physical one.
Did you go for the Hornby 66 special? No, I didn't. I was very tempted. They were very cheap with a few retailers, which they should be. It's the old Lima model. If Hornby can do it for the 66 and they did it for the Great Western Rail Bus, they could do it for a lot of other models as well. I still think they should. I've ranted on about that often enough, but I think they should. The Canadian company for downloading building kits is 3DK. Other companies are available, but 3DK are particularly good. Have we ever thought of lighting up our layouts? What you mean inside the buildings and things? Yes, using Christmas lights. We just never got around to it. Well, you can talk about what printers do we use.
We use heavily modified Ender 3s. And lots of them.
Oh, great.
Well, we've had 7 at one point.
At one point we had 7 printers, yeah.
8 if you include the one that we never got to work.
Explain how you what mods you do on them.
Belt tensioner mods, fan mods, silent mods, because they're in my room and they're really noisy unless you put them on them. What else? End up fixing them 24/7 because they're low-end printers as such. They're not meant to be doing. The quality's fine, but they're not meant to be printing non-stop every day like we do. I think on their website they're rated for 10 hours of printing. We probably put 100 hours of printing through them in a week.
But more than that probably. But they're a good printer if you can get them working. Right, maximum price you'd spend on a loco is 55 quid, and even that I balk at, but I have on about 3 occasions. But that's the absolute maximum I would spend. Yeah, French layout would be good. We got the TGV. Will we ever finish the loft layout? No, it's too big a job. It's 9 foot by 9 foot.
We might finish it one day.
Yeah, but there's whatever there is, 36 feet of layout to build. But I'm actually enjoying the fact that it's good. I like building buildings and scenery, so I'm actually enjoying the fact that it's taking longer. And the other thing with it taking longer is it would never be the way it was if we built it when we first were going to build it, because the ideas. When I was talking about ideas, I don't know if that will show, but that's the photo that gave me the idea to change the front, where you can see the street scene at a lower level. So I quite like it, and then the other evening I tinkered with it and built the whole independent branch line. So what got us interested in railways? He did.
Well, hey.
So the assumption is that we're the usual boring couple, and I'm the railway fan, and I got dug into railways, and that's just absolutely not true. And when people talk about the future of model railways, it's not just about the kids. I didn't start railways till I was 50. I'd been a military and aviation modeller all my life, plastic kits, 176 basically. Doug tinkered, wasn't over bothered, and then a friend of ours got a DCC Pendolino.
Surely they've heard this story 70
yep.
trillion
Doug,
times.
Doug liked it, came home, their Pendolino fried itself, and we got into DC. And we bought him a train set, which was alright, and then we got some stuff cheap in an auction, and that was nicer. And I bought an Evening Star for 50 quid, because I remember my dad having one. And that got us, oh, this is nice, let's try and build a layout. And we built a layout in his room that morphed, and that became Greenhill Hall, and it all went from there. My dad had model railways till I was about 5. I barely remember them. He used to write articles, little pieces for Railway Modeller, which a person very kindly found for us and sent to us. And then he went on to military models, which is, I guess, where I got into it. And then my interest in the military kind of went from there. I spent something like, I think that's 30 years or something in the cadet forces now. And so Doug then got us into railways, and it's kind of exploded, really.
Yeah. Love the attention to detail, because your banner that you insisted on putting up has got more wonky. Can you see how detailed, how much effort we spent on that?
No, the room's sliding.
Really?
Yeah, it's
right.
Yeah, I don't know. Subsidence.
Okay. The room slides that much, does it? Why am I not falling onto you then? No, you'd be falling onto me.
No, room sloping that way, you'd be falling on.
You'd be falling on me. I can't remember. Think about it. If that's level, the whole thing would spin. You'd be falling on me.
70 degrees. I'm assuming that's Fahrenheit.
I'd like to hope that's Fahrenheit.
Strange system, Fahrenheit. That probably means you're in America.
Wait. Should we have a go? Ready? Alexa, what's 70 degrees Fahrenheit in Celsius?
Hot.
70 degrees Fahrenheit is 21.1 degrees Celsius.
It actually worked for once.
21, it's alright.
Alexa didn't screw up on a live stream.
Armoured train. Well, we have. I got my phone. Can we do this?
Oh no. What are you trying to do?
Show the pictures of the armoured train we're thinking about.
Oh no.
Keep talking.
Keep talking. Don't mess with Douglas, he's probably good at physics. Grade 9, my friend. What else?
Hang on.
Richard, you need to build your layout, okay? Jobs don't matter. Build the layout. Have we ever used a third-party 3D printing company? No, because why would we need to? We have a 3D printing farm in my bedroom.
I don't think this will come out.
Probably not. You have to go back a bit. Jeez.
Anyway,
camera some social.
I found some pictures of armoured rail buses. So a one-off powered vehicle with armour plate and a turret that loads of countries built. Different versions of. So we are working on it. But it'll be one unit now, because that's great, because it can run as a single piece. It's only flat, and I can do a turret from my days doing war games. So yeah, that'll be really good. Keeps giving me jobs. Yeah, well, what can I tell you? I know people speak well of KD. I've never used them. I believe they're supposed to be very good, but I've never used them. Hello to the Lazy River Railway.
Scale scene.
I started with 2 train books. You've got to realise that 6 years ago, I knew nothing about railways at all. I've now got a bookcase full of railway books, mostly bought cheap. I am a bit obsessive. When I get interested in something, I like to know about it.
Whereas I just go on YouTube to fill my knowledge with it.
I don't know what a 299 Bachmann is. But the answer is no, because it'll be expensive. We have got a lot of videos on making buildings actually already in the back catalogue, and a lot of videos when we're making layouts also show you how to make buildings. But yeah, we do plan to do some more, but they're very time consuming.
Time confusing?
Consuming. I was eating.
Ah, excuses.
Pattern brick and cobble rolling pin. Oh, I heard about those. Yeah, no, I haven't tried one. No. Scale scenes are very good. I've used them. I like scale scenes. Scale model scenery are particularly good as well. The RH and DR armoured train is an interesting one, although it's very niche, but it is local. Somebody wants an email address?
Already given it to him.
Excellent.
It is 7:37 in the UK. PM.
Swanley, no, never been. Most of our stuff comes from China. So all our electronics comes from China. All the electronics for our controller boxes, which have now sold 400.
Almost. We're only a few selling 400 of them.
A lot of the trees, a lot of the scenery, don't buy the people from China. It's a complete con. What they do is they photograph O gauge figures and make out that that's the detail you're going to get on the AA figures. When the AA figures come, they're all wrong, they're too tall, they're all leg, and they're half painted. It's a complete con, and when you complain, they offer you a half refund, and that's all you're going to get. So I paid, I think it was £4 for 50 figures. I get that was cheap, but I actually ended up with 6 that were any good for £4. Okay, I got £2 back. So most of China is great. Trees, scenic mats, electronics, great. Don't touch the figures. Awful.
Oh no, James has raided. Oh no. Getting stalked.
Okay.
Isn't it tragic when your friends know your YouTube channel?
People keep asking us about London Underground. I spent too many years fighting my way through London Underground as a commuter to have any affection for the London Underground. In the end, I used to give up and walk, and I found that I could walk from Victoria to the West End, which is where I worked, quicker than I could on the tube. By the time I'd fought my way down to the tube, fought my way on a tube, fought my way off the tube and out of the tube, I could walk and watch all the Americans jogging around Grim Park.
Have you seen the video on YouTube of the guy who races the London Underground train when it's not busy? He sees if he can get off the train, run to the next station, get on that same train in the time it takes the train.
Should be.
He did it just.
No, I wouldn't spend £300 on a loco. I've spent far too much on model railways, but as an individual price, it's what makes the hobby so difficult. I don't care how good it is. I'll never spend £300 on a model train. How's your quarantine? Our quarantine's been pretty good. We've only gone out about 4 times.
I've never gone out.
He hasn't gone out yet. We've been down our allotment about 3 times, and we've been food shopping twice. But because I was quite ill, I'm technically an asthmatic, but I haven't been bad for 10 years. So, because typically I caught it in the middle of the coronavirus, and I've had it worse than I've had it since I was 16, so 40 odd years ago, and I've been ill for about 5 weeks. No, I haven't been going out.
Poor you.
Well, actually, military trains, although the trouble with a lot of the military stuff, the Germans and the Russians are a fascination to everybody. So everybody knows about anything that happened on the Eastern Front, but actually loads of countries used armoured trains all through South America. The Brits had them, the Americans had them. It's one of the problems that you can get models of every little German aircraft the Germans even thought about in a mad moment and drawn a beer mat. But there's some fairly major British and American aircraft that have never been modelled because of this ultimate fascination with the German war machine, which was all a myth. It was all fed by the German war machine, propaganda machine, and it's kept going. In 1944, the most common form of transport in the German army was the horse, and their biggest problem wasn't petrol, it was horse feed. But the images, it was all Hanemags and half-tracks and jet fighters and assault rifles, and it wasn't. It's what they lost. So any Germans out there, sorry. If I ran a server with my dad, yeah, okay.
I'm surprised I haven't thrown you out yet.
Of what?
Livestream.
Why?
Don't know, you're just annoying.
Why am I annoying?
Don't know, you just are.
I'm not.
Alright.
Do you service your second-hand locos as soon as you get them? Nope, because if they don't run properly, I'll send them back. Depends if I bought them cheap. If I bought them cheap, then yeah, I give them wheels are clean, a bit of emery paper, chuck some WD-40 and some 3-in-1 oil on them, and they usually run fine. If they don't, they go back. BMR could spend £300 on 4 end-to-end railways. No, my layout's only cost me about £50 to build. The one we're building at the moment is the most expensive we've ever built, and that will cost about £100. It won't cost me that because I've used second-hand bits, but it would cost you about £100 to build. You can talk for a little while.
Creality Ender 3 3D printers.
So how many people have we got watching?
69.
Well, how many have we had so far though?
233.
Oh, right, a little bit down.
We now have 70 watches.
Oh, jolly good.
Yeah, we're not up in the hundreds like normal, but then we only gave them like an hour notice.
Yeah, we decided to do it on an impulse really. Could do some more questions. What have we got? Airfix or Revel, they're up. Depends what you want to build. Some of the old Airfix stuff is quite nice. Some of the new stuff's very expensive. No, I don't think. It really depends what you want to do. Some of the qualities of the modern rolling stock is very, very good, and it's guaranteed. The running qualities of some of the old Lima is exceptional. The trouble is it's hit and miss. I've got 3 of the whatever they are, J70s or whatever. One is superb, one is middling, and one is awful. What you're paying currently is for consistency. You know it will run well when it comes out of the box. Having said that, I believe the Hornby Adams Radial was a complete nightmare when it first came out. It took them 3 attempts to get it right. Some of the new short wheelbase locos won't run across points. So, don't know. 4 foot by 1 foot box in O gauge. Yeah, the one we're building, because that's just under 4 foot by 9 inches. So we've got a few of those. Yeah. Not forgetting, of course, that half the German armour after D-Day was also nicked Eastern European, French, Hungarian, Czech, Polish, and everything else. It wasn't all King Tigers and Panthers, I'm afraid. Well, any of the Lima really. The newer it gets, the better it gets. But then some of the really new 33s won't run on things that the old 33s will run. So, do we get a criticism for promoting budget approach?
No, we just piss lots of people off, and it's quite funny.
We have a serial disliker who is particularly sad. He's clearly set us up as a notification so that the instant he get notified there's a video, he dislikes it, but he doesn't watch it.
Oh, and joke's on him, it means he makes us money.
I think he's made us about 10 quid so far because he watches every video.
Oh,
no, we tend to find people just ignore us. When we did exhibitions and things, they just tut and shake their heads and wander away, usually in a cloud of BO. No, we don't upset people because they don't like what we do. We do, yes, there have been some comments over the years where people get very upset with us. The airbrush one was really interesting when we dry brushed some wagons, and people kept saying, but use an airbrush. The whole point of the video was not to use an airbrush. I don't want to spend £60 on an airbrush to paint one wagon. So that generated quite a bit, and of course the 3-in-1 oil hacked a lot of people off.
That
still
great.
Does.
Yeah, 3D printed buildings, we just never really got around to them, but we do have them designed, just not printed.
Favourite British tank? Oh, tricky. You have to go a long way not to like the it's gone out of my head. Centurion. My favourite silly tank ever, if you want to look it up, is MBT 70, which was the German and American attempt to build a super tank in the 1970s, hence MBT 70, which basically they threw all the high-tech technology they could at it and none of it worked. It was particularly good. The driver sat in a separate turret in the turret instead of the hull. So the tank could go that way and the turret could point that way and the driver could be pointing that way. So if you think of the mechanical linkages involved to do that, and they managed to make it all work, and then they drove it, and the drivers used to pass out with travel sickness. It was so bad because it just throws you completely. A gun that didn't work, an engine that didn't work, it just went on and on. So for a complete failure, that's pretty good.
Yes, our controller boxes are still available along with all of our 3D printed kits, except 009 rolling stock, because Pico shut down temporarily at the moment, so we can't get the bogies in. So everything's operational. We can sell only one more 009 rolling stock. That's all we have left. So head over to that website, buy that last one, limited edition right now.
Right, how do we get dislike already? Because we do. Yes, I have looked at doing narrow gauge, but it's just time and space because I'm busy building everything else. Yes, the enthusiasts are quite snobby. If you'd spent a lot of time and money making an immaculate railway, and some upstarts like us come along and spend no money and very little time and have a huge amount of fun, you've got to find fault with it, haven't you? Because otherwise it means, why have you spent all that time and money? So they get cross with us. Yeah, the 3-wheel one was funny. And then the usual question, would we release models for people to 3D print at home? No. Simple answer.
Certainly not for free.
If we've had people expect us to do it for free, which is a bizarre notion. You might as well write to Hornby and say, can I have some free stuff, please?
If you went, skilled time, £10 an hour for design time, that would probably be 250 quid a model.
Yes, we could sell you the software for the same price as a model. And as I explained to somebody who got cross with us when we said no, and he said, well, I'm not going to do anything with them. And I said, well, what's to stop you selling them on eBay at less than we sell them for? Well, nobody would do that. I said, well, try telling some of the download print companies, because that's exactly what happened. And he was adamant, well, I wouldn't do that. And I said to him, well, when you want a second one, you'll print a second one. Well, yes, I suppose I might. Well, that's one order we've lost. And then when 2 of your mates in the club say, well, that's nice, a controller, can we have a couple each? You'll print them a couple of each. So that's 6 models we've lost. At which point we've sold 1 and not sold 7. And I'm not sure which part of the business model. Yes, budget model railways, when we're doing videos and model railways, it's a hobby. But the 3D printing's become a business. It's going to pay for his university. It's a business. Why would any business give stuff away for free? I struggle with that one, if I'm honest. 3D printed interior of the Hornby 4-wheel coach, no, because you can't see it.
Yeah, I mean, we have the 3D printed interior in our coaches, and you literally can't even really see that there's seats in there.
Difference between cost and value I quite accept, and I accept that some of the newer stuff needs to be expensive. I'm not criticising that, but there needs to be a budget range to enable people to come into the hobby. This hobby only has expensive, and that doesn't work. Difference between OO and HO is HO is correct because it's running on 61.5mm track at 3.5mm to a foot, and OO is wrong because it's 4mm to a foot and the track should be 19mm. So it's fractionally bigger, and it means that when you get these rivet counters criticising a loco because it's a millimetre too long or the door is 2mm too wide, they're all forgetting the fact the wheels are 3mm too narrow. It's because HO was the original track. British locos are smaller than continental locos because of our loading gauges in real life, and they couldn't get the motors in the 1930s into HO models, so they added 0.5mm and made 00. They tried to redo the correct track at 19mm, but it wouldn't take off because even in the 1930s there was so much 16.5mm available. So ever since then we in the UK have done 00, which is the wrong scale to go with that gauge. And then I say it's particularly sad then when people get upset about scale accuracy because there isn't any. Your wheels are wrong. But most of us don't care. Technically the track's all wrong anyway because the sleepers are too close together, they're the wrong size, etc, etc. But we don't worry about that sort of thing. Anything you want to talk about there? Because I don't want to be me, does it?
I don't know, I was just waiting for Model Minutes to come on so we can show off his painting.
We'll do that in a minute.
We can in a minute. So, did you see an RAF roundel on that coach? Yes, we'll show you in a minute.
Well, show him now then. Or are you waiting for Model Minutes?
I don't know. Model Minutes normally comes on, but he's not here.
Well, show his stuff then. You can talk about it.
To show with Model Minutes, aren't we?
Okay, we'll give it a minute then.
I'll give him a bit of time.
Yeah. How do I design layout ideas? There isn't that many options. A shunting layout, there's only certain things you can do with it. A round and round layout, there's only certain things. It's the scenery, it's the setting. And you need an imagination, and you need, in my view, to either Google a lot or read a lot so that the ideas come into your head. How about a quay? How about a dockside? How about an airport? How about a town? Where did railways run? What did they serve? What kind of industries did they use? And that's how you then get the ideas for it. Well, on a small branch line, the tender locos aren't really practical, and the main difficulty is a lot of tender locos won't go backwards over points very happily, which tends to be the problem. what made us look at using cardboard? Because we hadn't got any money and we needed to build a layout, basically.
And I wanted it to be light.
And it needed to be light because lifting Greenhill Halt nearly killed us.
And this was going to be like twice the size.
And this was going to be bigger in 3 layers. And I just had the idea of, I wonder if you can laminate cardboard to make beams. And the answer is you can. We made them the wrong way. We needed to do them vertically. And if we did them again and we've still got the beams, we would do it vertically. And if I did it again, I would use thin ply or foam board for the top. But when you're building hills, like in the loft, why not? You're not putting any weight on it. And it's cheap. It's free, basically, corrugated cardboard.
20k special, what will we do? Well, if we're Colin Furs, we'd strap a firework to a train and blow it up.
Yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
What should we do for 20,000?
Somebody started on the 2nd level. Excellent, using cardboard, hopefully. No, Hornby Railroad isn't a cheap way. They make 3 wagons, 2 coaches and 4 locos. And all those locos are A40s. And the other railroad, you're creeping up towards £80 or £90. We need a £25 A40, a £30 060, a £40 Bobo diesel. The Hornby 4-wheel coach is the biggest rip-off in Christendom. It's 4 bits of moulded plastic and 2 wheels, and they've been making it for 30 years. I used to deal with China. That coach could be 10 quid and they'd still be making money. The reason they charge £18 is they're using that money to offset the cost of the high expensive ones instead of encouraging people in. They admit that themselves, because at one time you could get a double pack that was only £20. Well, that's £10 a coach, not £18 a coach. So, you know, the railroad range is okay as far as it goes, but it's still too expensive and it's too small. For anybody that does wargaming, there are 4 or 5 major budget companies, people like Armourfast and so on, and that just does not exist in the model railway world, or even close, and that's what we need.
We'll turn the question back on you. What do the viewers think we should do for 20,000 subscriber special?
So a couple of other ones. No, we don't have jumper wires. We just have 2 wires on each loop, and on the lower level that powers a 6-road fiddle yard, a passing loop, and the hill. It's all you need with DC. I like that one. Instead of O, N, N and all that one, I'll call it small, medium and large. Yeah. Mainline are good, just noisy. Very noisy, but they're good locos. I shouldn't think they ever used 9Fs on branch lines, no. Use that hill, yeah, wonderful. It does work, the hills. No, I don't intend to buy an expensive loco any day. So no, I just don't. I wouldn't feel comfortable knowing that I'd spent a large. I don't need to. That my favourite locos are often the cheapest ones I bought. If it's reliable and it runs and it looks okay, and I didn't spend much money on it, I'm more than happy. I don't need the level of detail of the modern stuff. I drop locos too often, don't I?
Yeah.
How many locos have I broken?
Many.
When we first went into railways, my wife said it's not a good idea. Doug was 9. He'll break them. He's never broken a loco. I've broken 6.
Ah.
It was cardboard on the 2nd level. The shop owner looked at you funny. They will, but they'll give it to you. I went in the garden centre to get thick, and my customer at the time was unloading some stuff and had big wadges of double density corrugated cardboard. I said, do you want them? She said, no. So what are you going to do? And she said, throw them away. I load them up. I loaded them up in my car. I got a bit of ply that was a bit of packaging, and I got that all the way back from Essex with the steering wheel like this, not being able to change gear on the motorway, praying to God that the police didn't pull me over, because I'd got a 6 foot by 3 foot bit of ply that hadn't cost me anything in the back of my car.
We could do the, for 20,000, do the who can build the best budget layout, which we've had as a plan for a while, but we're not sure when we're going to do it.
What, between you and me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd win.
Nah.
Yeah, I'd win. No, we've never had a manufacturer talk to us about budget ideas. Despite our rant having, I think, 150,000 views now, they're not interested.
Nah, we had that weird thing with Hattons a while back, and then it just all went dead.
Yeah, that was about promoting Hattons, though, didn't it?
Yeah, it was just a bit of a waste of time. They wasted our time, basically.
All these people are interested in is selling the rich enthusiasts a limited edition 200 or 300, 500 of a particular loco, and then repainting it next year and selling it at another high price. The major manufacturers have absolutely no interest in beginners to the hobby. When they do, you look at the Hornby at the moment, the family train pack, that's £200. That's not a family train pack. Sorry, but it's not.
Do we think we have young viewers? I can guarantee you we have young viewers because I have YouTube analytics.
Yeah. Not very many. The hobby is
harder to look at now because of YouTube's new laws, but I know there are.
The analytics reflect the hobby. The majority of our watchers are well over 40, if not over 60. With I think it's only about 20% being under 30, and teenagers is about 5% of what we get, unfortunately. No, I'd never do a Thomas the Tank Engine. It just doesn't work for me. I know the kids like it allegedly, but I've not got enough interest in it to do that. No, some of the mainline locos are really tough to get at. If they don't work, they're a sealed unit, or at least one of mine is, and you can't fix it. Yeah, filler for Making Hills we've done. Oxford Rail's alright. Their wagons aren't actually an awful lot cheaper than the Hornby ones. The locos are marginally cheaper, but not as cheap as Budget, and it's all the same company now anyway, Hornby and Oxford, so there's no real difference.
Talk about this when I find it.
The Mahano train set.
Talk about the Mahano train.
If we're talking about, why is things so expensive, so we spotted this at the same time as Sam's Trains and a few other people. This is £55. There's a large Bobo diesel, actually a Coco diesel, 6-wheel diesel, all-wheel drive, all-wheel pickup, 3 wagons, circular track, controller, and the Mahano controller is one of the best on the market by a long way, for £55 including postage.
And a track mat.
And a track mat. £50, we got an 040, 2 wagons, a circular track.
Fake hill. Yeah. And it comes with a hill.
Fake hill. For £50 we got a tiny little 040, 2 tiny wagons, a circular track and a NAF controller. And that's discounted.
And they got loads of different ones.
There's loads of different ones. That's a particularly nice. I like that one because they're great running little locos, those. 4 wagons, nice little loco, circular track, decent controller. It can be done. That's what Hornby need to do. But once you've done your set, you can't add to them, even the Mahano one, and that's where the problem is. We need companies to do the add-ons so that once you've got the railway bug, you can then move on, and then you can go down the expensive route if that's what you want. Well, any budget model would be good that's available. O-gauge, yeah, but you see, O-gauge is quite interesting. So you get a whacking great O-gauge shunter for about £200, which makes some of the 00 stuff look a bit pricey. Budget O-gauge, I guess it is possible.
Yeah, this will be a video afterwards, assuming we don't get raided.
I've got nothing against. There's nothing wrong with Thomas. It just doesn't work for me, personally. I'm not that bothered about it. The most complicated layout. What's the most complicated layout we built, Doug? Royston's Hill.
Yep.
It's on 3 levels. 3 different tracks. 00, HO, 009.
That was a bit of a mess.
All made out of cardboard. Literally all made out of cardboard. Baseboards, supports, fiddle yard.
The entire thing.
Scenery. It nearly killed us, didn't it, trying to get it built in time. But it was very successful on the exhibition circuit.
Yes, we know all countries we have viewers from. We know all your ages.
Any country you are supporting, you have. What's it say?
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Oh,
you know what countries you have viewers from.
What's that word say?
I don't know.
Okay. We're looking at 0.16 or 0.5 or whatever it's called. That is a plan, definitely. It's just time. We've got a list that long of projects that we need to 3D print. But yeah, A16.5 is definitely on the radar. Definitely. Mr. Victorian, yeah, we've got loads of reviews of cheap locos, second hand and new. Just scroll through our back catalogue.
Clear gloss yacht varnish for making rivers. Paint underneath it brown if you want to make it look dirty.
Am I waiting for a Chinese company to shake the market up with quality and value? Probably not, because they tend to make for Western companies. And that's the problem, because then all the cheapness... I mean, you ask yourself this. A Pico point and a Hornby point are the same price. Pico are made in the UK, Hornby are made in China. Something's not right, is it? Because we all know the difference in quality, the price of stuff made in China. Yeah, it would be good. It would be very good, but I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. Yeah, it'd be great to see a basic high-speed train. You know, if you think Hornby spent all that time and money making a £30 naff children's train that runs around a track on a battery, but if they had the resources to do that, they could have made a high-speed train for 30 quid. They could have released the old Class 33 that they've got for 30 quid. You know, and it didn't catch on because every retailer ended up knocking them out at 20 quid, and yet Hornby have re-released it again. It's very strange, very strange. Gauging the goal. Yeah, I've thought about it, but I'd get killed by the better half.
That'd be quite funny.
Yeah.
Give us some entertainment in quarantine.
Do we buy Metcalfe brand new? We don't buy almost anything brand new. We have bought Metcalfe in the early days, but it's too pricey, so I tend to buy it second hand now when I can get it. At the moment, we have bought a load of Daypole kits new for our project, but that's because it's for a project. Normally, we would have bought them second hand. No, don't remove your traction tyres because the loco will wobble because the wheels are slightly smaller than the normal wheels because of the traction tyre. Yay, 30 on doing model railways. Have a good look at our videos. You'll find lots to help you. Yeah, somebody's saying his kids won't even look at the Hornby train thing. It's the same as I've worked in a number of industries. Let's attract the children. Let's make it childish. Let's attract girls. Let's paint it pink. No. Do some cheap locos that look like a nice train and the kids will love it. Doesn't need to be aimed at children. Just needs to be a train. You know, you don't get wargamers going, oh no, let's have a pink fluffy tank. No, they just make cheap tanks and the kids wargame. Look at Warhammer. You know, Warhammer didn't go, let's make them cheap and fluffy and put a teddy bear on the top and paint it pink. Of course they didn't. They just made it warry when it's sold.
Yeah, the WD-40 3-in-1 oil loco is still running power. That's what we could do for 20,000. Do you remember what we've been wanting to do? I found that really cheap, disgusting, nasty motor oil in the shed when I was cleaning it out. Can I go put it in a box? Yeah,
well, you could explain the plan then.
Okay, so a plan we've had as like an even worse than the 3-in-1 and WD-40 to truly see if plastic melts in oil is we were clearing out the shed and we found some really old nasty engine oil.
Well no, it's new.
Yeah, cheap. But like it's cheap.
10-40
cheap, bad, Poundland.
I wouldn't put it in my car.
Engine oil. Lots of it. So we were going to plan to fill up a container, put it in there and just leave it for like a month.
3 months, 6 months.
In the liquid. What we should do, I'll put it in tomorrow and then we will leave it until 20,000 subscribers and pull it out and see what the damage is. And if it still runs, anyone who says anything about WD-40 or 3-in-1 oil can just leave.
And it will still run. I'm convinced of it.
And there won't be any melted plastic.
It's like everything. So much of this hobby is old-fashioned stuff that's been kept on. There are still people saying you can't use points to transfer power. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you couldn't. But the old boys haven't moved on, so they're still isolating their points. They're still putting power feeds in. 50, 60 years ago, trying plastic melted if it got near oil. So they're still telling you, don't put it near it because it'll melt the plastic. Won't happen with modern oils. Yeah, Chinese production, you're quite right. There are only about 4 or 5 factories that will make. So in fact, there isn't much way in there because they're contracted to most of the major suppliers. A number of years ago in a job, I bought extensively from China, or the company I work for did, and I used to go on the buying trips. Chinese will make whatever you want. And as long as you buy a decent quantity, they'll make them cheaply. And if Hornby or whatever went out and said this is what we want, they would get them cheap. The 04 Loco, explain something to me. If they can sell the motorised chassis for £8, but the whole train is £30, you're not seriously telling me a bit of painted plastic costs £22, because it doesn't. Local model shop is Train Times, Eastbourne Models and Hobbies. When you say the killer for me was the baseboard construction, yeah, it will do if you make it out of wood, but there's lots of other ways around it. What do you recommend as a beginner? Hornby 040s, the new ones, are reliable, but shop around a bit and get them cheap. Bobo diesels, the older ones, are reliable. Stick away from big complicated steam trains because they don't like points or tight curves. Go DC, not DCC, until you're happy that you've got what's working. Buy a decent controller, one of ours or an old Gauge Master or something like that. The Hornby one is naff. The main problem with the Hornby one actually is the connectors. If you have to use the new Hornby controller, rewire it to go on powered fish plates, not the Hornby pushing.
There's your controller.
Yep. Not the Hornby pushing contactors, because they wobble around and you lose the power and you think it's the loco and everything, and it's not. It was like a religious experience for us when we suddenly soldered the track, or we used fish plates onto a track and a decent controller, and all of a sudden everything worked, and it was the naff Hornby controller. Yeah, we're not going to do. We could be a while before we get round to O-gauge. The problem is we're saying you can replace the motor with a CD motor. I don't know how to do it. Most people don't know how to do it. If we're going to make a model, it's got to go on a chassis that's ready to go and works, which is why we use Kato and Hornby 040.
No, we don't do a double controller, but we're still pretty sure you could be able to power two controllers off one transformer, but we've never tried.
Or you just stick two controllers together.
It's the simple option.
Yeah, so when you can get. I bought two 040s for £15 brand new from various retailers, including Hornby. They're regularly available at £25 from most of the discount stores, and then you shouldn't certainly be paying more than about £30 for them. I could go on any number of websites now and find them for £31, which is not a bad price in the scheme of things. Any future plans? Yeah, loads of plans, no time.
Global domination.
Global domination.
Out business Hornby. Buy Hornby.
Yeah. A budget terminus station. We've built several on shunting layouts. I've got about 3 that, if you scroll through the videos, we've made terminus. Technically, my current layout's a terminus one as well, when you think about it. When I saw your prices, I screamed and my mum yelled at me. What prices? Don't know what that's about.
Whose prices? Couldn't be our prices.
Yeah, I mean, Sam's trains, the motors for a start are a laugh. I know Richard at Classic Rail did that once. He couldn't get a double axled motor for a particular Hornby train. They were £38, and he got it for £5 from China, and it was the same motor.
Put the Hornby controller in the oil too. I found the Hornby controller as well going through the shed.
It couldn't make it any worse.
No.
But yeah, I mean, this is we can only. It gets like a broken record, particularly when you're looking at the Hornby Railroad range. The 040 loco should be about 20 quid new, top whack, standard from Hornby at a price. There's no way it needs to be £30-35. No, I keep saying no. I don't think any supplier will do a budget range because their business model now. I saw this in the equestrian trade, where the suppliers stopped making stuff. And as a retailer, you had to pre-order. So the manufacturer would only make what the retailer already agreed to buy, and the retailer then took all the risk that they could sell it. More importantly, and I worked in retail for 20 years, if something took off, you couldn't get any more stock, which is a bonkers business model. And it's really what Hornby and Bachmann are doing. We'll make 500, we'll say we can only sell 500. Oh look, we sold 500 before it even got to the shops. Duh. Do you not then think perhaps we should have made 600 or 700 next time? Just do it once to see how many we can make. Because if we make 700, it knocks 20% off the price. And then next time, let's see if we can make 1,000. That knocks 50% off the price. And then let's see if we can make 1,500. Oh yes, we can. That knocks 2/3 off the price. This idea that we can only sell 300, it's because you've made them rivet possible, perfect, and there's only 300 nice people who are prepared and able to spend £250 on a little perfect 060 loco. They're very special.
Yes, our prices are so cheap. Clues in the name.
I see. Beg your pardon. No, we'll never finish the loft layout, I don't think. Probably when I'm about 70, I would think.
Yes, Hornby controllers are rubbish.
Yeah, they short out, which...
Step 1 of how to build a model railway. Find your nearest bin.
Doug actually tried to short out the controller that we make with the components from China, and you can't short it. You can touch the two wires together. The Hornby one, if they touch the points wrong, they short.
I tried lying screwdrivers over the track. I poked the actual circuit board of our controllers with a screwdriver. I couldn't break it. I actually tried.
You can't. They don't short. It's a strange one, that, isn't it? Yeah. And they are rubbish. I'm sorry, but they are. There's no control on them. There's no feedback. If you look at Sam's Trains review of the Mahano controllers, we've used Mahano controllers lots until we did our own, and they're superb little controllers, very clever, same price. And remember, the new Hornby controller looks cheap because there's no adapter in it. You have to buy the adapter separate, so the price has actually gone up, because it was 20 quid and now I think it's 15 quid and the adapter's 10 quid.
Yes, our controllers are bulletproof.
Pico are trying to do, a number of the continental manufacturers are trying to do a budget range. It is a little childish, but it's not as childish as Hornby, and the big advantage is it's compatible with normal railways, and they're very much in the right direction. I think they do very well. Businesses now won't take the risks. It's not how you grow a business. You don't grow a business without taking risks.
Technically, we took a risk, because we brought a printer not knowing if we'd sell anything.
Yeah, absolutely we did.
And then ended up with 7 printers.
Yeah, Will you ever make the engines on your logo?
Waha!
That's a thought, isn't it? Sort of. We're kind of touring with an N-gauge one, aren't we?
Google Images.
Yes, we do watch Sam's Trains occasionally. Yeah, he's quite a good site. But he's big enough. He doesn't need us plugging him. Are you going to do model minutes stuff? Or are you going to wait and see if he comes on?
No, I want to wait for him, but... Bum. Our controller casings are £5, and the electronics together are probably like another £5. So.
Yeah, we don't supply the electronics for all sorts of reasons, but people, you can buy them on eBay and other sites are available, I'm sure, for about £6 or £7. They occasionally go wrong. I think we've had one out of about 9. We've had one person who said he bought them and they didn't work, but we've sold nearly 400 and we haven't been inundated with people saying anything other than they're brilliant. So they're quite cheap electronics. But again, it asks the question, if companies in China can supply us the electronics, which is the expensive part, for £6 or £7 at a profit, why is the Hornby one £25? And it's worse. It's not a PWM, it's a much worse controller. And I'm not actually going to go at Hornby, Backman are the same and so on, Yeah, the new Premium 08 will be £175. Yeah. I wouldn't. We never. The tape method was something we did once, and I wouldn't stick with it. But I wouldn't use ballasting. I would always use ballast mat. The current one I've got with black roofing felt, dry brush grey, is as good as any ballast mat as you can buy. And I just wished I'd thought of it before I built the loft layout. That's a good buy. 37, 47 and a 50 for 40 quid is a very good buy, because you'd pay 40 quid for a 47. Right, so the Daypole kits, there's a whole series coming up on them, because I think they're great. Yeah, it's Tuesday, yeah, hopefully, because I think they're great. In the scheme of things, you do have to shop around. Please shop around. There are companies currently on eBay trying to get £18 for a kit that I paid £8 for. You do need to shop around. There are a number of very good suppliers out there. They're a nice basic kit. They make up well. They're a small enough size to fit most small layouts, and you'll see on Tuesday what we've managed to do with them. And we've only done bits of the range. In fact, you say about that. This is the Daypole bungalow, which at the moment I'm converting to being a timber-clad building as an exercise, which we'll do on one of the layouts, but it doesn't really come out very well. But I'm doing timber on it, which is the side I've done. That side. Yeah, it doesn't really come out. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Daypole at the moment. Virtual layout, we haven't had much take up on, have we?
No, we've only got 2 videos at the moment. So if anyone wants to send us videos of their layouts, then we can do a virtual exhibition.
But please make sure it's a budget layout. We've had 1 or 2 people want to send us immaculate layouts, and it's not really what we do. We don't need to fit an overcurrent circuit cutout to the controller because it doesn't short. So it would be an unnecessary complication. If you touch the 2 wires together, it still doesn't blow it. Not that I'm recommending you do that, children.
Don't try it at home.
Don't try it at home.
Professional.
So there's no need to put it in there. It just raises the cost. No, I won't do a military layout because I spent 40 odd years doing military and I like the change. I put soldiers on a lot of my layouts, and I'm going to put some aeroplanes on 1 or 2 of them.
The message is split, but Hornby, our premium class 08 will be £175. Budget will rise. Let's build a bloody detailed shunter for 040 for £15 and get a Hornby chassis for 8.
Yeah, sounds about right. Well, the Triumph chassis, yes, I've looked at, but they aren't the best chassis in the world. They are very clunky, and although I love my 3 or 4 Triumph locos I've got, no, I wouldn't make some bodies to fit them because they're not really suitable. And the other problem at the moment is there's so many chances out there trying to get big money for Triumph that it's not as easy actually to get a cheap chassis. Yeah, I mean, scratch building is always the cheapest way of doing anything if you've got the skills to do it. I mean, our current layout's going to cost 100. If I built them out of cardboard, it'd cost me nothing. But what we wanted to do with the current one is to show people what you can do if you don't have those skills. So. It's cheaper to make the temperature switch out in the adapter for bad controller designs. So, fair enough.
Good job, it's not a bad controller design.
Yeah. What do you get for scattergrass? Scattergrass. It's a simple answer. You either buy ballast, whatever you call it, scatter, or you buy static grass and you shake it out of a bottle, which is what we do. Or somebody we know in India couldn't get hold of static grass, so he bought a green fancy dress wig and laboriously cut it up into short lengths and used that as static grass, which I think is epic. Absolutely epic. We got 96. See if we can get 100 people watching.
Won't happen.
We've had 500 people watching overall. So as it's gone a bit quiet, let's show a couple more books. So I bought these cheap on eBay. You'll know the Shire series quite well, but I only paid about £3 for these, not the £6 or £7 that's the list price. Country Railway is particularly good. There's one on Railway Workshops, I got one on Narrow Gauge, and I got one on Industrial. And I would say that if you're interested and don't know anything about railways, they are excellent books if you can get them for about £3.50 because they're short and to the point and they teach you a little bit, so they're very good, and I would thoroughly recommend them. Of course, the other thing I'd always recommend is Continental Modeler, which now is only going to be available by subscription because it's not financially viable for them to put them into retailers, but it's different. Railway Modeler is the same magazine every month with a different cover, but Continental Modeler is very good. It does vary.
How do you know when we're going to be doing live streams? Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or keep an eye on the YouTube community page.
We found that we don't get any more viewers if we give people a week's notice. So we tend to just say, we're doing anything tonight? No, we're not doing anything tonight. As my wife got something to watch on telly.
Half an hour notice today.
Yeah, she's got something she can watch on telly. Well, going to do a live stream then. I am sorry we had to delete the third one we ever did because we had some really good banter going, me and him, when he was a bit more talkative before he became a stroppy teenager.
I'm talkative.
Well, go on then, answer a question.
I never said I was talkative.
You just said it. I can go back on the video. You just said it.
You don't know how to go back on the video. You're old and decrepit and don't know how
technology. I have a number of varied skills. People skills, management skills, presentation skills. I have no idea about this technology. I just about know where the on button is. I drive my staff...
Where's the on button on my computer?
I've no idea. I drive the staff...
Down there.
My staff in the Army Cadets absolutely bonkers.
100 viewers.
Because I have no idea how to work technology.
Because I have to make you do your meeting calls.
But I love technology. People think I'm a Luddite. I'm not. We've done a Zoom meeting today with my command team.
Yeah, that you were late for.
Which I was late for because I forgot the time.
Shocking.
But I love the technology. I just don't know how to work it.
Example.
And because I'm of a senior enough position, I don't need to know how to do it. I just get somebody else to do it for me.
I should start charging you, really.
Yeah. What's the cost of bringing up a 16-year-old again?
Your parents have to pay you £180,000.
No, it costs us £180,000 to raise you.
No, you have to pay me £180,000.
No, that's not the way it works.
Yeah.
That's what your university fees are going to cost.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
How did the BMR exhibition at Bluebell go?
Very well. I don't know what else really there is to say.
That's great fun, wasn't it? It was probably one of the nicest exhibitions we've done, because it was all of us together in a tent doing the same basic model railways. We had loads of families in and we had a great time. We didn't get hardly any enthusiasts. They used to hover around the entrance, go a funny colour and walk away. My favourite one was the year before, a couple of years before, when we were it was Greenhill Hall, and we had the two trains and we had a blue 040 going up the hill and the red Bagnall going round. And this little girl said, "Look, Mummy, look, there's a red one going up the hill and there's a black one at the front." And I leaned across and said, "And if you wait, there's a green one coming out of the tunnel." And it was a real rivet counter enthusiast. He'd got his rucksack and his anorak and hadn't washed for a year. And, and he went, "Red one, green one, blue one," and stormed off. It was superb. But the same show, what made it for me was a guy probably about my age. And towards the end of the day, he was just stood across the aisle, just watching the layout. And he wasn't interacting or anything like that. And I sort of said, "Good afternoon, you all right?" And he went, yeah. And after he looked and he went, "Do you know what that is? That's a proper model railway, that is. That's a model railway. It's a model railway." And he just summed it up great. It was just a model railway. It had a track and some trains and some buildings and people were watching it. It was just great. And then the other one that made it for me was the second year we went, and a father and son came up and said, "Were you here last year?" And we said, yeah, we were. And he said, "Oh, thank you so much." He said, "Because of you, me and my son have built a model railway, because we came here and saw yours last year and we went home and we started building one." And that's something we never expected when we started Budget Model Railways. We didn't even think anybody would watch. And we get so many comments. And we had an idiot a couple of years ago, and he sent us a snotty message saying that we did more harm than good. So Doug did a search for the word inspiration on our comments. And there was about 200 people who had said, "You've inspired us to make a layout. Thanks to you, we've started a layout, or we've finished a layout." Somebody recently said to me, "Oh, it's only because of you I've been able to build a layout of my grandchildren, because I can see that it's not going to cost me a lot of money." And I'm a great believer, and I can't remember which performer it was who said once, so long as you touch one person, everything's worthwhile. If the music you made mattered to one person, it was worth doing. And if we've got a couple of dozen people, a couple of hundred people making railways who hadn't, then our work is done, really, isn't it? And we've had a lot of fun with it. Easiest and cheapest way to make a baseboard is cardboard, but you do need to look at how you do it, but that is the cheapest way. Or scrounge skips and find the timber in skips and make it the traditional way, what you've nicked out of a skip. Doug bullies his dad. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does bullies me.
It's okay.
No, Wren Mokers probably growl because they're old. I mean, if you really want to hear growling, you have to hear the original Airfix locos, which are so noisy you have to wear ear defenders. It doesn't spoil the realism for me, because I don't think anything model railways is realistic, and I'm not going for realism. I like my quiet locos, but I'm not going to not run my noisy ones because they're noisy. I've got a UF shunter that is possibly screeches round the track, but I still run it. Cost limit. Now, if you've got a big loft layout, so long as it hasn't cost you thousands of pounds and it's full of DCC and computer control points and £300 Bachmann locos, we might well be interested. How much longer are we going to be live for?
No idea.
Well, at least till, let's say 9 o'clock.
Yes, it is great fun winding up professionals.
Who's put that?
A person.
Alright. I like American diesels. They are a bit brutal to look at, but I like big brutal machines. I was fascinated by tanks for a number of years, and you can't get more brutal than that. So I like all locos. I've got American locos, European locos, but mostly diesels. I'm a huge diesel fan. I like the odd steam loco, but I'm a huge diesel fan. Probably because I like tanks, and they are really big tanks, aren't they?
Yeah.
No, I was an air cadet when I was a kid. I was a cadet warrant officer. Eventually, because I tended to speak my mind a bit, but I eventually made it to cadet warrant officer. And I was for a very short while an instructor in the air cadets, but then I had to leave because of work. And when work enabled me to join, I always liked being out in the field, doing the soldiery stuff. So I joined the armed cadets, which is 20 years ago. And Yeah, I've got plenty of time for the Air Cadets. I work quite closely with the Air Cadets in my current role. I don't like them organisationally. Sometimes they're a bit of a challenge at high levels, but then so are we. You know, we're just a slightly different beast. I think whether it's Scouts or Girl Guides or cadets of one form or another, Sea Cadets and so on, as long as they're doing something useful. I certainly don't have any dislike for Air Cadets. But yes, if you join the Army Cadets, I mean, when I mention that I was an Air Cadet, I obviously get my leg pulled, because everybody likes to take the piss out of the boss.
But then, like, Scouts hate Cadets, Cadets hate Scouts.
It's just normal competitiveness. What's really funny is if I go to a meeting and I explain that I was an Air Cadet and there's all this booing, and afterwards about half the room will come up to me and go, yeah, so was I. But it is amazing how many ex-Air Cadets there are in the Army Cadets, which might tell you a little bit about the Air Cadets, but possibly not.
Oh
no. Baseball palette and pink lady box for the top, yeah.
Will we update our profile picture? Probably not, it's just our logo now.
I don't know, I've got odd hair, probably no need to.
Oh no, that's a different thing. That's not our profile photo. That's our channel art. Yeah, you made it to art.
First time here, hi. What are we up to? Talking nonsense normally. Well, I talk nonsense, he talks common sense. Armoured train we did earlier. We're still looking at it, but we're going to build an armoured rail bus now, when we get round to it. Book line, you said going... Shire's books. So if you look up Shire's books, they do everything from books on thimbles and telegraph poles. We think the railway people are mad. To railway stuff, and they do 4 or 5 railway ones. But don't pay. I haven't got my glasses on, Doug. What's the price there somewhere?
$14.95.
No, there's a pound there somewhere.
And £6.99.
Oh, they're not too bad. But I bought them for £3.50 on eBay. So
that conversion rate is so old. That's like double the dollars.
Oh, we did a picture of the armoured train earlier. Basically, imagine a big armoured box with a turret shoved on top, and some engine grills and stuff running on an 040 chassis. It'll be great when we do it.
I feel I get so many people asking what the time is.
He did a layout on a toilet seat. That is fantastic. This is when I posted Seaton Dunny. Oh, that is clever. Now that's very clever. Not everybody's going to get that. Dunny is the Australian word for toilet.
I know.
On a toilet seat. Now, I'd love to see some pictures for that, and I think that's the best thing I've heard all night. A toilet seat railway. I can just imagine what the professionals thought of that. That's epic. I've got a toilet seat somewhere. I might have to copy that. I'm going to be giggling about that all day. Fair play to you, mate. Toilet seat railway. That's fantastic. Please remember, whatever we do is playing with toy trains. As long as you remember that, everything's fine. If you play with tanks and war games, you're playing with toy soldiers. It's like somebody who put a message on it that said he's got a friend that collects authentic action figures. And he goes up to says, no, you're playing with dolls. As long as you remember what we're doing is playing with trains, it's simple. If you think we're doing anything other than playing with trains, you're taking life way too seriously. You can't do budget DCC that's as cheap as budget DC. When budget DCC is as cheap as budget DC, we'll do it. You can do it cheaper, but you can't do it as cheap as budget DC. You can't get a DCC controller for 10 quid, and you can't get a DCC loco for 15 quid. When we can, we'll look at DCC. And when it does something that I can't do on DC, I'm not bothered about sound, and I don't run more than one loco or one bit of track. So for me, DCC doesn't do anything that I need to do. I can run my locos as smoothly and quietly and slowly as I like with my controller on my track. I don't need DCC. Until I do, I'm not going to use it. It's not cheap, and it doesn't do anything I can't do with DC. Sorry guys, it doesn't. Unless you want sound or you want to run 2 locos on the same bit of track, it doesn't do anything I can't do with DC. Rant over.
We're going to have that rant again in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm sure. The trouble is with modular layout, and people have suggested this over and over again with all the layouts I build. I don't have a room big enough to put them all together to make a modular layout. That's why I've built small layouts. Have we had any difficulties from Hornby? No, I mean, they actually kindly sent us a loco to review, which was very nice of them.
Train set
and they sent us a train set at Christmas, and they're going to send us another train set this Christmas.
Hopefully.
So I can't knock them. They do support us.
Last time we had it by now.
Yeah, they do support us, on a couple of occasions, but they probably don't know my views. When they watch this, we won't get any more free stuff.
I don't think they really watch many of our videos, to be honest.
No. Oh no, I'm afraid you're well out of date if you think you're going to fly a chipmunk in the Air Cadets. They stopped flying chipmunks in the 1990s. That's what I used to fly, was chipmunks and Kirby Cadets. At the current moment, the ATC has no access to aeroplanes for all sorts of reasons, which is why they're facing a number of challenges as an organisation. But I enjoyed it greatly when I was a kid, particularly shooting 303s, which is still the best rifle ever produced, folks. It works. It goes bang when you pull the trigger and it hasn't got too many working parts.
No, UMP 45.
You can't beat a 303.
You can't beat a Glock.
Can't beat a 303.
No, Glock.
I've fired every British service rifle from Martini Henry, which was what they had before 303s, the 303, the SLR, the SA-80, and the newer versions of the SA-80. And I still like the 303. 1 foot wide, yeah, we've done loads of 1 foot wide. Yeah, Seaton Dunny is excellent. We all think that's wonderful. We have got to have a picture, please, of Seaton Dunny. You've got to send us one and we'll put it up on the next live stream. We've got to see this. It is possible to print the chassis. The reason we didn't, we originally were going to print the chassis for the wagons and the coaches. The wheels are at least £2 each, and the couplings are £3 each. So it would have cost us 10 quid just to put the couplings and the wheels on. So that was the end of the idea of doing our own chassis. Unfortunately, that's the question. You to buy them new. That's why we did the 009 on the bogies, because that's the cheapest way of doing it, and it's then now why we use the old second-hand chassis. We have thought of 3D modelling other vehicles, because for about 10 years I made my own range of war games vehicles, freelance war games vehicles, cast in white metal. And one of the projects we're looking at, isn't it, is potentially converting the designs into 3D printed.
Starting up another different company.
Possibly. No, they definitely don't fly chipmunks. Chipmunks haven't been around for about 20 years. Last thing they flew were, I'm going to get hammered here because I don't really know, but Slingsby Fireflies. The chipmunks were part of the university air squadrons. We only got to fly them because they were flown for the universities and they were called air experience flights. They were all over the country. I flew at Cosford, Manston.
Jason, please can we have permission to show your video that you sent us on the live stream, please?
Is this the Dunny one?
This is. Please can we have permission
Tell us
to show your video?
Yes, I have shot. Well, not SMLE, number 4 Mark 1. Which is the 1942 onwards version. The ones I shot were actually made in 1944 in Canada, as a great deal of the cadet ones were. But yes, I have shot the newer 303s fairly extensively as a young man, which is probably one of the reasons I'm deaf in my left ear. African themed layout? Doesn't know. There are ways to do DCC on a budget, but it's still not as cheap. You know, if I've got to add if I can buy a loco for £20, but I've got to add £15 to put the decoder in, it makes it £35,
okay,
not £20.
That's enough talking from you. We're going to watch this now.
Okay, we've got Seaton Dunny.
Wait, hang on, is this Seaton Dunny? Is this all of them? Is this just Seaton Dunny?
Yeah, it's on the toilet seat.
No, but is it just Seaton Dunny? Okay, anyway.
Hopefully.
Wait, that one.
This is Seaton Dunny, I think.
This is... Wait.
Yeah, you can see it's a toilet seat.
There we go.
I think that is the most epic thing I've seen. An N-gauge layout, all that scenery, upper flushing. Well, I don't care, they're all on toilet seats.
I just want to... Wait, are they all on toilet seats?
Poo corner.
Are they all on toilet seats?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think that's the best thing I've seen for a long while. You know, the one in the suitcase is great, but... Spend a penny, it's superb. On a toilet seat. I'm sorry. And the fact that you've done that level of detail is just wonderful. But on a toilet seat. Come on. That's epic. I like that. You see, I get carried away with my enthusiasm.
Yeah. Oh no. Poo Corner Underground.
Yeah. Yes, I suppose we're getting confused with DCC. Can you do DCC on a budget? Yes. The question was asked, would we ever? No. I suppose that's the answer to it. Of course you can do it cheaper. It just doesn't float our boat and it doesn't meet our criteria. But yes, you can do it on a budget. Of course you can. Barnard Castle. Barnard Castle is where my dad did his national service in 1947. It's not far actually from where I did my cadet basic training at Rothgill Camp. So I'm currently, I'm actually Commandant Surrey ACF, so I'm in charge of all the Army Cadets in Surrey, and I'm Cap Badge Princess of Wales Royal Regiment. I was Royal Signals for 20 years, but we're one of the few battalions in the country that's single Cap Badge. I re-Cap Badge to PWRR, which I'm very proud of. So we'll have fun up there. Everybody loves the toilet seat layout. That's just epic. I've got a toilet seat somewhere. I'm going to be seriously tempted. We could do it in double O.
Yeah.
But a flexi truck, so we know we can get it around 15-inch curbs. Tempting, very tempting. Double O gauge layout on a toilet seat.
Be quite funny.
Be good April the first advert, wouldn't it? I don't think he actually runs them on the toilet. I'm not sure. I think the toilet seat's on the table. I hope.
Could you imagine if it's a fully functioning toilet seat?
Came up flush with that idea. Oh yeah, so we're going to get all the jokes now.
I hope the toilet seats were washed beforehand.
One would hope so. You know. I wonder what other weird things people have done. We got to find out, but that is particularly good. Particularly good.
I know what weird things we've done. Sprayed locos with WD-40.
Yeah. Model railways in a fridge. Yeah.
You have digital cameras, computers, and 3D printers bar old school railways.
Yeah.
Well, hey.
I'm retro, mate. You know, I like 303 rifles. I used to ride old motorbikes, Jawa CZs, and that sort of thing. Anything I've ever done in life, I always find the different. I refuse to conform to the mainstream. I will always find the difference around the edges. It's just what I do.
No, we gotta go back to this video.
Oh, why's that then?
We gotta watch the ending. I'm sorry. What?
Oh, I see. The layout is controlled by the flush handle, and the layout on the basin is controlled by the tap.
What?
Yeah.
We got to see this. I think we stopped just too early. Do not use the toilet while the train is standing in the station.
Yeah, well, that's what they say on the trains. He's a bathroom designer. Oh, there's one on the sink above the toilet.
Connected to the loo. Is that like in your bathroom showroom?
Is that in your showroom?
That would just be amazing.
Yeah. We're just all watching this for a minute. We've been taken over by the toilet seat railway.
It gets and then it
goes up a helix, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I'm assuming your boss let you do this, which is just wonderful. It's the controller.
Oh no.
It just keeps getting better and better. It's just...
I mean, I'm just gonna send some improvements here.
Look.
You could make the tap work and have a water wheel meal under it, yeah. Or a water.
But the basin controls the logo. Look. Yeah, that's superb. So look, Carl says he's just gone and measured the loo seat and his wife's giving him a funny look. That's epic.
Model railway in a fridge.
I dare desktop, it'll be great. Yeah, Mr. Victorian's very clever. He is actually making a layout in a gun case to take with him on his military service as he travels around the world, which I think is very epic. How does he get the track through the U-bend? Flushed away. Yeah, superb. He says he didn't know yet. I bet she had some interesting words, didn't she? Yeah. That lot fits in my Mini Cooper for exhibitions. Brilliant. Middleware control base. Yeah. Yeah, I quite fancy Z and all that stuff, but no, I haven't got the budget for it either. And I haven't got the eyesight. I can't do N because I haven't got the eyesight for it. So, but it's very clever because, as I understand it, the track is magnetic, so that's how the trains stay on. Which is very clever. It must be a balance between it. It's not grinding it to a halt because the magnets are too strong. Yeah, we did look at that a few years ago, didn't we? At an exhibition, Model World. Yeah. So we think we're beginning to slow down a little bit. So we'll have a look. We'll probably finish at about 9. And then we'll do another one of these another time. So you got about 10 minutes to chuck us some more questions in.
Should we talk about model minutes?
Yeah, go on then.
You can do the tramway.
Well, I'll talk about how to get on the exhibition cert in a minute. So Model Minutes, which some of you will know, if you don't know his website, please have a look at it. He makes all sorts of kits, but he very kindly, that's one of the nicest painted tramways I've seen that he's done, and he's got videos coming out. And he's also done a military train. So he painted Loco green, and he painted one of our coaches camouflage.
With people inside.
And he painted one of our wagons camouflage again, and put some scrap inside, and it makes a great little military train. So yeah, have a look at him. How do you get an exhibition circuit? Just ask. What they like to do is say you'll never get on an exhibition unless you're a member of a club. So you'll need to join a club first, and of course they'll ask you what era you're going to do and what location and what locos you're going to run, and they're going to laugh at you and throw you out if you do anything too silly. But then eventually you will, after many years of hard work and struggle, be allowed to put a small layout in their exhibition in the corner around the back by the toilets where nobody can see it. It's rubbish. We spoke to a really nice guy at York many years ago, and he said, no, just go and ask someone. Tell them what you got. And we had an exhibition layout which we thought was good because it had been made by me and Doug when he was 9, and it was our first one. And I happened to have Bluebell Railway as a customer, and I said to them it was a shame because my son really wanted to exhibit an exhibition. And they said, well, you can talk to our exhibition manager. And that turned out to be the buyer that I knew. And they were blown away with what we did, and we got invited, and then we got invited again. And what was really nice is when we did the first exhibition, the other clubs who were quite forward thinking, having taken the piss out of clubs, 2 or 3 clubs were really good, and they came up to us and went, would you bring it to our show? Because we think it's really good. It's a family layout and it's different. So we ended up going to Bognor and Sompting and Seaford, and we could have gone to East Grinstead, and we got invites to about 7 or 8.
Went to Pevensey as well.
Went to Pevensey, but we just didn't have the time. But we could have been exhibiting 8 or 9 times a year. We got invited to America, but he wasn't keen to go, and it was over his exams, which now aren't on, but we can't fly anyway. And we could exhibit all the time if we wanted, but you need to do something different. If you've just got a bog standard railway and you're not in the club, whatever, it's going to be quite hard to get in there. You need to do something a little bit different, or be a bit different, children and that sort of thing.
Are we father and son? No, we adopted him.
Wish we had adopted him. We could give him back.
We found him on the streets. We took him in. That's why he's not quite right up here.
I've never been quite right up there. Once I had children, that was the end of that one.
Oh, children? I've got siblings.
Oh, a child. You should have had a younger sister just to bully you. We really wanted you to have a younger sister, but it didn't happen. Ballasted my track. What should I do next? The landscape or yard? Whatever you feel like. I don't follow this convention of you lay track and then you do this. Build whatever it is you want to build next. Model way on a car dashboard. Yeah.
I should put a model railway in the glove compartment.
Who's Model Minutes as channel? Depot locos are okay, but I don't know what the modern stuff's like because it's way out of our price band. Yeah, Poundland's okay. Yeah, the average width's about 10 inches. I have built one at 8. A foot gives you more room. There was another question I was going to ask. Can't see it now. Yeah, I'd say I spent 40 years building aircraft kit, so I know most companies. Hurricane's my favourite aircraft, so. Best place for good value backman? Sorry, wouldn't know. I mean, I bought some nice Backman Junior locos on eBay, and I really can't understand why Backman stopped making them. Lovely little locos.
Well, Carl, if you want to get started in exhibitions, we have our virtual exhibition, hopefully, coming out eventually.
Yeah, Carl, yes, unfortunately a lot of exhibitions are very up themselves. Depends on the club. You know, we're very fortunate. People like Bognor, particularly Something, very welcoming of new people and particularly children and that sort of thing. Just got to find a club that's a bit more open. Some are, some aren't. Some are stuck in the 1960s and they won't allow anything in that's not an... I mean, there is a particular exhibition who wouldn't let us anywhere near them because their reputation is at fine scale, which is fine. You know, they're very nice about it. You know, Ringfield Motors, no, because they're quite tricky to fix, really.
How's the plans for the virtual exhibition? Well, not going that well because no one really seems
to be
sending anything. We have 2. So if you have any layouts, film them, send them to us.
That meet our criteria.
That meet the criteria, which you can find on social media. But if you want more information, email us and we'll give you everything.
3 minutes, and then we'll string them all together. Now, if I had £10,000, I'd still do budget because I like building stuff myself.
If you had £10,000, then you could just do a massive...
I'd just do a big budget model railway. Actually, if I had £10,000, what I'd do is build a big shed to put the layout in, and
that
then build
would be the majority of that £10,000.
Yeah, I'd spend the £10,000 building a big cabin in my garden, and then build a budget model railway inside it, just to be perverse, you know, because I've got everything I need anyway. So if I had 10 grand, I wouldn't buy anything because I've got too many locos, too much rolling stock, and far too much track, all bought second hand. So I'd just build my budget model railway in an expensive cabin,
which I would commandeer as our studio.
You've got a cabin.
I don't have a cabin.
Well, you're down there mostly.
I have a leaky,
you have a shed.
Old shed that you built 20 years ago.
It's now your workshop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I've sealed all the windows. The door's falling apart. I'd got to insulate it and put some panelling on the inside, I think.
I told you to fix the door. Yeah.
No, not just that. The whole door, the panels are falling off. It's worse than you thought. You've given me a second-hand, falling apart shed.
Well, you don't have to have it. I can have it back and still crap in it like it was.
No thanks, it's my shed.
Do we want to see an unfinished layout? Depends if it's interesting, I suppose is the honest answer.
Send us some photos.
Send us some photos and we'll have a look. Just build a new shed. That's what I said. If I had £10,000, I'd build a new shed.
No, I think it was me at my workshop shed.
Yeah, well, you've got the money. Build a new shed if you want, but you've got to get the old one out.
Bit of a waste of money though, isn't it? I've already got a shed there. Just need to make it better.
For a drop-in board. Don't. I mean, it's quite tricky to do a drop-in board. Alligator clips, you know, bits of... they are quite tricky because you've got to get it absolutely right, and then you've got to find a way of... The best one I've seen is that, like, put a dropper on each and one of these push-in connector blocks, which works quite well.
Buy an airplane hanger so we can all have one together.
That'd be excellent. Yeah, yeah. That's a 12-year-old. Excellent. Always pleased to see the younger members. It's a great hobby. Stick with it. Have fun. Don't spend too much money. Get your parents involved.
Unless they're annoying.
Well, not everybody's parents are annoying. I put a lot of effort into it.
Yeah, you succeed.
I know. It took me years of work.
Yeah.
I'm not annoying naturally.
Must
it took me years of effort to be annoying.
Not annoying naturally, really.
Yeah, we could do buildings, but to be honest, the Depot engine shed's £8. So I'd just buy a Depot one. Well, one of the things we're trying to do with 3D is not repeat what everybody else is already doing.
Do different things.
If we don't do something different, or we can't do it at a cheaper price, you know, or both, then there's no point in us doing it, which is one of the reasons we didn't really persevere with buildings, because we'd just be replicating the Depot range.
And they took surprisingly too long to print.
They took a huge long time to design as well.
Yeah, each individual brick.
How do our subscribers react? It's great. We've been asked for autographs, haven't we? Yeah. And we've been asked to have photographs taken with us. It's like being a celeb.
We had people come down from Australia and so on.
Yeah, we had somebody come all the way from Australia to see us, which was superb. It's like being a celeb, but without the orange tan. It's quite something.
Yeah.
It's really, look at that. He's been helping his dad do the scenery. Well, the Hornby power track's all right, but it's not as good as fish plates. You know, and I would use powered fish plates every time, or solder it on, and I wouldn't use the Hornby controller, but we did that fairly extensively earlier. Anyone from Tasmania? So somebody from Tasmania getting around. We've got a lot of Australian following, actually.
Where's Tasmania?
North of Australia. Yeah, the armoured car, we've had that a couple of times. Yes, it's getting there. It's in a very long list of jobs. We're not complaining in any way, shape or form, but one of the outcomes of lockdown is we are absolutely snowed under with 3D printing orders. We're struggling actually to
who sent us photos on Instagram?
Somebody sent us some photos on Instagram.
Who's that?
And so we haven't got any time at the moment to design. Oh, that's nice.
That'll be alright for our exhibition.
That'd be epic for our exhibition.
Yeah, whoever just sent us photos on Instagram.
Let us know who you are.
Your username isn't the name. Let us know who you are. Oh, Joshua Fontaine.
Yeah, well, send us a message. Alabama. Hey, we've got some Americans.
Hey.
We've got a lot of Americans. We like Americans.
John Johnston. Pretty sure you're a Patreon.
Yeah. Boats and buildings and a harbour. Obviously, we are building a harbour layout. If you go back a little bit, the best place for boats, at least in the UK, is any scale models. Go on eBay, punch in 00 scale boats, and his stuff will come up. He does all sorts of great model railway stuff. He was originally wargaming, but he does things like loads for stations, little water towers. That's the best coal stave value for money. That's £4 odd with the coal and everything in it. He does boats, harbour walls, lighthouses, all sorts of stuff for a harbour. Very, very good. So just have a look at for him.
Yes, we accept photos on Instagram as long as they're relevant.
You can outsource printing. We have spoken about it. Yeah,
we've talked about printing.
Like getting Sam to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've just said, Mr. Victoria, big fans of Americans. Got a great, quite big fan of American locos as well. So.
No, we don't play guitar, but we have a guitar downstairs for some reason. Why do we have a guitar in this house?
Because Mum and I both threatened to play it over various times over the years, but I decided to concentrate on my singing instead.
Oh God.
Can you do that with a Clyde Puffer? No, because I haven't got a Clyde Puffer, but there is a very cheap cardboard kit out there, but it's too big. You know, one of the problems when you do a harbour is, you know, a scale boat is that big and it's that wide, and it takes up all the layout, and you end up with a diorama of a Clyde Puffer with a few trains in the background, is the problem.
What's a Clyde Puffer?
It's a kind of small ship, but it's still quite big. Yes, Mr. J. Paul Anderson, quite right. I'm not having a go at people that do fine scale. I think that's great. And I'm sure we all aspire. I mean, I've always said one day I'm going to do a really, really nice layout. A bit like what we did recently with the quarry. But it's not what the hobby should be only about. And if you read Railway Modeller or Model Rail or anything like that, it's all about perfection. And we've got to move away from that. But you're quite right. It's just a different way of doing it.
Carl Young, you could try GearBest, but we've had some problems with postage with them.
Well, we're not, to be fair to them, it was the courier, wasn't it?
It was their third party courier. DHL.
Yeah, DHL lost our parcel.
Lost our parcel.
Not supposed to be technically possible, apparently.
Except it went out for delivery
8 times. And every time it didn't come, DHL just said, yes, it's still in the warehouse, you'll get it tomorrow. And we could not get DHL to refund us.
It probably took us
it was a complete nightmare dealing with DHL when they lose something. And that was before the lockdown. God knows what it's like now.
You could also try box.co.uk. I think they ship internationally for quite cheap.
I'm sure DHL are wonderful. I don't want to get sued. I know it was probably just one incident, but we didn't have a good experience with them, all right?
Yeah, DHL are awful. I don't think it was just us then.
I'm sure they're wonderful because this is going live. I'm sure they're a wonderful company. It's just that us and Carl had problems with them. I'm sure they've delivered many millions of parcels with absolutely no problem.
Could you imagine if they lost a Formula 1 car?
I don't think they send Formula 1 cars by DHL.
They do. Remember the whole shipping and everything?
Well, yeah,
Formula 1
that's true.
is DHL.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if they lost an F1 car?
Yeah, it's very stressful everywhere, especially in America. I'm not going to say what I was going to say, but
send you a photo of what?
We might have to send you guys a photo of the unit via Instagram.
What unit?
Because I think what he's making in his rifle case thing.
Right,
thank you, Pacific CV. Yes, we would use Royal Mail or Hermes, but when the company sends
not
it...
Hermes.
Well, Hermes is right. They use the company they want to use. We can't stipulate, we can't tell the sender what service to use. So Royal Mail were brilliant. Royal Mail lost one of our parcels that we sent out.
Yeah.
And we didn't have a tracking number, we had a number when it was posted, and they were brilliant. Within a week we had the money back. It was epic.
But then Royal Mail literally never loses them.
Very few, certainly. So I think we'll give it a couple more minutes, and then I need to get on with my life, do some other stuff, because there is a world outside model railways, you know.
Yeah, it's called isolation.
6 weeks, one more week to go. Yeah, I think we'll be in lockdown for a bit longer than one more week.
Well, hey, hopefully good.
But we'll see. You picked up a Deltic for £8. That's a bargain. That's about a quarter of what they can go for, and it's a third of what I paid for mine. I would just point out.
Yes, indeed, we do.
Well, it's
sell
a bit
merch.
expensive though, isn't it?
Let's pin it.
Yeah, we do sell merch, but it's through a third party because it's small quantities. It's very expensive. Sorry, but if you really want it, yes, we do sell merch.
It's just a bit overpriced, but there's nothing we can do about it.
Nothing we can do about it. It's small quantities. So when we're big.
Oh, we have a decent amount of followers in his unit. I assume by unit you mean like your...
Where are we talking
The
there?
bomb one. No, Mr. Victorian. Does unit, does he mean his like this military...
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know, I guess unit, but like, you know, your group
Yeah, no,
of
unit
people.
is the
Your
military
group of
people. Yeah. Whoever you are, and I appreciate you probably can't say. Yeah, all the best to you guys. I know you're doing a difficult job, often in difficult parts of the world, as are a number of my colleagues, or they used to.
Send you guys a photo.
Yeah.
It all makes sense now. Send us a photo of the people.
That'd be great. Quite a number of my staff are Iraq and Afghan veterans, and so we always have a lot of time. I know the young man about cadets has asked a couple of questions about a particular piece of equipment, and I can't discuss that particular piece of equipment on a live video chat. I'm sorry. For all sorts of reasons. For the same reason our American friend probably can't say what unit he's with. Yeah, I can't discuss those, I'm afraid. I can't help you with that. I Like Trains is on. Epic.
Where?
I wonder if it came from that. I Like Trains.
I don't know. Do you reckon we get sued if we showed one clip?
Yes, don't do it. What's the most exciting thing? Well, I got ridiculously excited about the layout I'm building because I literally was able to go, oh, I want a station, I'm going to buy a Daypole station. Oh, I need platforms, I'm going to buy Daypole platforms. I need signal box, I'm going to buy a Daypole signal box. So I was like a real rivet counter, like a real railway enthusiast going, oh, I want one of those, I'll have one. But at least it was cheap stuff. And it has added up. But I shopped around and I did get unbelievably excited. I'm also very excited because I'm going to convert the coal office to a signal box, which saves some money. And I'm looking forward to doing that. But the patrons and the members are great because they are funding us to be able to do. I've wanted to do that project for about 2 years, and I just simply didn't have the 60 odd quid. I couldn't justify the 60 odd quid it was going to cost to make.
Speaking of which, Matt Dutton is a Patreon.
Hi Matt, thank you very much. And going forward, we'll probably try and use some of that money to perhaps buy one or two slightly more expensive locos and things like that, so that we can at least say to people, look, if you want to go that way, you know, perhaps we might get, you know, one or two of the slightly more expensive railroad locos, just so that we can review them. So it's going to be very important moving forward. Thank you very much to all our patrons and members for supporting us.
But yes, Mr. Victorian, feel free to send the photo.
Yeah, he'd love to see it. Yeah.
I would.
Yeah. Oh, my wife doesn't know how many layouts I've got. I had 6 at one time scattered
Probably
around the house. It's a good thing. Never let them know how many. I never discuss on air how many locos I've got for that very reason. Because she occasionally watches this, and I do not need anybody knowing how many locos I've got because I shouldn't have that many. I think we're nearly done.
We're better than Netflix, apparently.
How many are we up to? 85. 85.
No, not yet. Which one is it? That one? Yeah, 85 current. 763 people have watched.
Oh, that's epic. It's not too bad. It's probably better than some of the latest reality dating shows, which seems to be all we've got on the TV in the UK at the moment. I don't know about some of you in the other countries.
SAS Who Dares Wins Monday.
I've been watching that, yeah.
It's a bit boring with celebrities.
She's like, bloody shit. Well, I have a railway room. You see, that's the answer.
See, the problem is though, I've had.
However, I haven't successfully hidden my piles of books which get under everybody's feet. So that's a bit of a problem. And it is a problem when the postman comes and 9 parcels come through the letterbox. Then it is quite difficult to hide that you've been spending stuff on model railways.
I can't gather in more than groups of 15. That's all right. In the UK, we're not allowed more than 2.
Yeah, that might make some of your jobs a bit interesting if you need more than 15 people on the ground, mightn't it? Still, tactical spacing. Tactical spacing is more than 2 metres, isn't it? So, mate, if you're not having fun with your missus, you don't know what we're talking about. Happy wife, happy life. Always worth remembering. No, I haven't. Oh, yes, I have. Yeah, no, it's the one I think it was, the panorama one. It was not very well done. A little bit out of date, but we might be talking about something different. Toilet railway in a high profile exhibition, it'd be great, wouldn't it? Worley, Uckfield,
yes.
Uckfield, which is the premier fine scale layout in this part of the country. Okay, he gets his stuff sent to work. Unfortunately, I've always been a rep out on the road, so I couldn't do that.
Me and Sam always thought about maybe one day getting a parcel delivered to school. It'd be quite fun.
Yeah, he gets very creative around his social distancing. Yeah. Yeah, I can't say that one out loud either, but never mind, it just made me chuckle that. I'll tell you that one when we're off air.
Oh no, don't know if I want to hear.
Right, okay, well, we'll give it 2 more minutes and then we better finish. I need a comfort break and a cup of tea. But thank you very much for everybody that's watching. We've had 767 people watch us. We've had about 80 or 90 at any one time. I hope you enjoy what we do. I know we sit here and waffle about all sorts of nonsense as well as railways. We do try and keep off the politics. Occasionally we get people putting political comments. We will always delete the political comments, and if they're bad enough we will always bar the people from commenting on our videos. We have to be very, very careful. One of the outcomes of COPRA is that you can't allow any content like that on your channel. And when we do get people doing it occasionally, it hacks people off. They then reply in strong terms and we then got a problem. So we will always strictly keep the channel to model railways, and apart from my odd digression in live streams, we do need to do the same with this. So he's best in shirt,
Bognor with the toilet seat. Yeah, I'm sure the mayor loved it, but I doubt the club were happy.
Yeah, I don't think Bognor would have been any happy at that. I think it's wonderful that he picked it though.
Do you think, you know how like all the big celebrities do all their global tours, the world tours and stuff? We should do a UK tour for exhibitions, plan it out, drive all the way out to like Scotland and back.
Yeah, we could do
all the exhibitions.
Yeah. If we get, it's like everything. If we get invites, especially if we can claim a bit of expenses. I mean, America was very tempting because a couple of people very kindly offered to sub most of our airfare, and I might still twist his arm when lockdown's finished.
And then we've had loads of people go like, "Oh, I'll take you for lunch. Oh, I'll be your personal
yeah.
taxi
So we might
driver."
get to the States. I'd like to do the States. We've got a lot of friends in the States, and I know it's a big country and they couldn't all come. But I think one day I really would like to go and exhibit in the States.
But then I bet if we went to the States, it'd be a one-off. I bet most people would probably like come because isn't inter-United States
it's easier to fly.
Travel
it's easier to fly.
Normal.
Yeah. We had an idea of basically building one of our small layouts in a suitcase so that we can take it with us. Although I understand some of the exhibitions in America are not quite the same as in the UK. A bit more like trade shows, but I could be wrong. Great Model Railway Challenge, yes, if they did a parents and kids version, but they've got no plans to do it. I can't do the kids because I'm a wrinkly, and he can't do it because I'm a wrinkly. So we can't do it together, and we don't want to do it separately. Because we argue and fight, and it's too entertaining.
Oh, we'd get them their views, you know. They wouldn't have to script out the arguments.
And we go north. If we got an invite, we might. We might.
Yeah, we should do the UK tour.
No, it doesn't stop with a Christmas train set. That's where we started. And it's taken over most of the house and most of my life now, as my wife often reminds me. It won't stop at a country rambler train set, I'm afraid. You've had it now. You've got the bug. Ancient Kingdom of Northumbria. Yep.
Where's Northumbria?
North,
I guessed.
It's north of Umbria.
Nice.
Well, you know where Sussex comes from,
I
don't
didn't even think East Anglia was in the UK. It doesn't sound English.
you? You know where Sussex comes from?
No.
South Saxons.
Nice.
Wessex is the West Saxons, and Essex is the East Saxons.
Wessex is a place?
Well, it was, until they did one of the change rounds and stopped calling places Wessex.
Yeah, sorry,
it was.
Wessex.
And to people of a certain age, of course, Wessex is a helicopter.
We've got West Sussex and Mid Sussex.
Yep. We're the only county that has 2 Lord Lieutenants, because we have East Sussex and West Sussex.
And Mid Sussex, if you're in the Scouts, you've got 3.
Oh, that's a Scout thing, though.
Yeah, but the Scouts split into 3, which is really weird. You've got East, West, and Mid.
Yeah, just before Scotland on the east side, Doug.
Just before Scotland on the east.
Go up the A1 and keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't mind the A1. Yeah. I haven't been up that way for a long while. Used to do the A1 on a very regular basis. Not out of pleasure, I hasten to add. In the old days when the A1 was dual carriageway, famously on one point we sat behind 2 trucks trying to overtake each other at 20 miles an hour for 12 miles before the truck overtaking decided he couldn't make it anymore after all. And I think it was a 14-mile tailback behind us, because 2 trucks decided to try and overtake each other and couldn't. Mercia. Yeah. Hence the Mercian Regiment.
Why does no one like the A1?
Because it's a horrid dual carriageway. The only one worse than the A1 is the A12, which is awful.
I'd like to visit Scotland. Me and a couple of my friends should have been going on our own little camping trip right about now, but that's not happening.
Morpeth rings a bell. I've been most places. I used to be a national rep, so there isn't much of the country that I haven't actually been to at least once.
Yeah. We'll stop at 9 o'clock. We'll stop in 2 minutes. Yeah, we'll go on forever.
I'm going to stop in 2 minutes because I know.
Yeah, we know that's not going to happen.
To go down. No, I know my boss to go down. Yes, we have been to the National Railway Museum and loved it, as we also went on the North Yorks Moors. Worst loco I ever bought. Well, several that got sent back. The worst I ever bought was Class 24, conversion from a Hornby Class 25. When it turned up, I hadn't noticed in the photos it hadn't got any couplings. I got assured that these were fine scale couplings, which they're not. Got assured that it ran beautifully. In fact, it fell off at every curve and point because the 2 bogies were broken in the mountings. The guy refused to do anything about it because he said he ran it up and down a straight bit of track and it was fine, and I tried to explain to him it would run up and down a straight bit of track, and eventually I managed to get him to take it back. But it was before the days of now on eBay you can print the returns label, so it cost me £4 to send it back, so it cost me £4 to get nothing. A complete pile of junk. And that's unfortunately where you are with eBay. But having said that, 90% of my locos have come from eBay, no problem. But that was an appalling loco, absolutely appalling. I did buy one recently that just didn't run, and when the person that sold it to me assured me it had run. Well, I've taken it apart and the motor's rusted up, so it didn't run. But the majority of them are okay. But yeah, I bought a couple of crap ones. Repton. Yeah, we're off as well in a minute. Yep. I think we're nearly done.
It has been them 2 minutes.
Yeah, it has been those 2 minutes. So thank you very much for watching. And we'll try... Oh, hi to the Netherlands, another place I really like. Walked all around the Netherlands when I was a kid. 17, more or less a kid. That's great. Thank you very much. Well, we'll say goodbye now. Say goodbye.
Bye.
See, does as he's told occasionally. Bye from the duck. Those that remember from last time. Can't find Budget the Bear, he's hiding somewhere.
Figured of flying duck.
It's about time Budget the Bear earned his keep.
Flying duck.
Bye!
Bye.
Bye, and we'll talk to you again soon in a couple of weeks.
Bye.
Thanks for watching.
We could just say bye forever.
Bye.
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 And it's good night from me.
Bye.
And good night from him.
Bye.
Go on, turn it off.
Where's
What are you doing the royal wave? You think you're the queen?
No, that'd be like this. Au revoir, my friends. Bye bye. Let me drink my cup of tea with my pinky stuck out.